I want to talk with you about spiritual in a political world. Being spiritual in a political world. I never thought of myself as political, ever. I never was much for reading newspapers or keeping up on things. And then people would comment that you seem to know a lot about what's going on in the world, and you seem to know a lot. How do you do that? And I said, I don't know. I just read the Bible every day. Let me give you a story behind the story. We got saved, Wendy and I got saved in the 80s in Woodstock, New York. And in our little church, you know, a good day we'd have 12 people. It was like a church for the COVID-19 era. It was, and we were in Woodstock. Who ever heard of a church in Woodstock? Again, Woodstock in the 80s was like the world today. It wasn't post-Christian, it was anti-Christian. And here we lost all of our friends and we're in that church, but we were getting some good teaching from Pastor Owen and Herb Hartman, who's the evangelist, Sheila, his wife, led us to the Lord, and Wilson Cole, no relation to me. And they did a lot of teaching there that was relating, they were actually relating the world and the gospel, and we were seeing a microcosm of the whole world in that little Woodstock, and I saw clearly we're going out into a world that's not going to like what we're doing. I saw that clearly, but when I went to seminary, there was a group of people that had a different orientation. They used the word corporate. Corporate. I was trying to think, is it a company? Corporate. And I'm not being, I'm trying not to be critical. I'm only explaining how people process conclusions. And what I got out of that in the years going forward was that keep politics out, keep religion out of politics and politics out of religion. You know, religion and politics, you can't mix the two. And I heard that. That wasn't my orientation. We just saw it all as one back in Woodstock, but I got oriented to that way. And then I started to realize something. Something happened. The government began to take over, or I noticed what the government had been doing for decades, it began to take over the moral authority that was owned by the church, if you will. Again, Martin Luther King would say the church is the conscience of a people. So we had the church, Christianity, the Bible, was the moral authority over marriage, over sin, what it is, murder, all that kind of thing. But the government started coming in and saying, no, we'll tell you what murder is. Abortion is not murder, it's a woman's right to choose. And if you feel this way, you're wrong, and that could be very dangerous for you. It could. If Joe Biden is elected president, these kind of things will be very real. Another government overreach was on school prayer. 1962, you couldn't pray anymore. What was wrong with prayer? Well, the government knows better. The government had a statement about marriage. We know better. So now if you don't believe in a marriage between a man and a man and a man, a woman and a woman, you are very bad. And if the law is changed some more, you're going to be unlawful to even think that, to believe that. These are dangerous times. Why? Not because people like me got political, but because the political got into the spiritual. Just the opposite. It invaded us, if you will. And they say that we do it, but it's not that way. And this is the dilemma of our time. William Wilberforce, a lot of people have seen the movie Amazing Grace, and my wife Wendy and I saw it again, and it reminded me of what a great story. William Wilberforce, he was a member of the Parliament in England in the late 18th century, late 1700s. And he was friends with John Newton, who was his pastor. John Newton's the one who came up with Amazing Grace. But here's the deal with William Wilberforce. He becomes born again. He says, I want to be a pastor. How can I be in politics? My heart warms. And I know how it feels. When I first became called to pastor, my heart warmed with this. His best friends, though, African friends, who wanted him to end this slave trade that was going on in Europe, in England, they said, do both. And William Wilberforce discovered that by doing both, he was doing one. Brilliant. By doing both, he was doing one. And you and I live in a time where it's not just William Wilberforce who's called to that. Listen to God. We're called to do both, because you can't have one without the other. You cannot not be political because the world is political. But you cannot not be spiritual because there are no political solutions, only spiritual solutions in practical ways. And that is where we are. That's the world we live in. That's why I'm here and I promote Donald Trump, bull in a china shop, writes nasty tweets or something. I love the guy. It doesn't hurt my feelings. He does what I wouldn't do. I wouldn't do it his way, but you see, the issues are spiritual. Now, here's the last point I want to make about this, and here's a cool thing. You see, because both are necessary, and let's face it, everybody's doing both. Everybody's doing spiritual, their religion, whatever there is. There's a Satan's religion out there. There's a religion around BLM. This religion without repentance. There's no hope. There's all kinds of religions out there, and politics is all over the place. Everybody's there. What if you and I, real born-again people, and come on in and become a born-again Christian, take them, ask them into your heart. Let's be part of the team. Really love one another. But we could go out there and be both as one. Do you realize we have a whole audience? You can suddenly talk about Jesus in the middle of a PTA meeting, if you will. You can just do it anywhere because everybody's doing it all anyway. And the other side of this wonderful thing, and it's all under revival. Revival because we can reach people because we're doing one thing. Political and spiritual is one. But the other thing is reaching you. You don't have to detour around this, around that. Just say it. Just be both. You can drop your guard and absolutely have renewal in your own life. You know, repentance is a gift from God. Repentance is a joy, and it comes to you. It's not just I did this or this. It's just changing. It's saying, I don't have to carry that heavy burden anymore. I am free. If revival isn't personal, you'll never notice it around you. But if it's personal and it's others, we share this. We can have the greatest revival that we've ever known, and it's because evil abounds. Grace abounds much more. And grace isn't some idea. It's a reality, as real as God's real food. My body is real food, my blood is real drink. Reality. Revival is right here in our grip, in our grasp. I'm Dennis Cole. This is Narrow Gate News. Please subscribe. Please share. Please comment. Thank you very much, and God bless you.